Hmm. Uh, uh, who are you? Hmm. Come to learn some history. I see. But you don't want to read loads of books. Huh. It's fine. Come and take a seat. Let's start with a bam then. Who has in history the claim to tell everyone?
Not the kind of person to say a told us so, but you know what? A told us so. A fucking a told us so.
And everybody said,
We didn't listen! We didn't listen!
this interesting fellow goes by the name of Jalaluddin Mingburnu. His name means God given. And we could say that he had a somewhat of an interesting situation throughout his life that he had to deal with. Mingburnu himself had a somewhat of an interesting life, being the son of
Aladdin!
I'm sorry, I just had to do that. Aladdin Muhammad II was the Sultan of the Persianate of Khwarazm, as you can see here on this map that I've spelled Powerade on. Let's start with some context about this kingdom. The kingdom was established by a guy named, I kid you not, Gorjai, which could be translated in Urdu or Hindi as sweet tea. Which leads me to my theory that our man here was the first ever rapper.
X gon' give it to you. Wait for you.
sorry. Garam Jai or Garjai kicked out the Arabs as they were doing a pretty shit job. Unfortunately, a judge was not available to take their calls, it looks like. The Khwarazm had a very strong connection with the budding Seljuk dynasty, who some people might be interested in are the Turks' ancestors, which are depicted in, I think, a TV show called Etrugul, where people shout revenge and others whisper justice. That's all you need to know about the TV show. It's pretty much that. Mirboni's idyllic life up to now was pretty okay, but his life kicked up a notch when his dad decided to kill a band of merchants. Seems a bit nonchalant until you find out who sent him. Yeah, anyway. But I presume Aladdin's was thinking,
My genius is... it's almost frightening.
yeah, not probably, maybe not his best moment.
I must have hit my head harder than I thought.
Anyway, the intention of these band of merchants was to establish some kind of trade routes. We would suggest that his intentions were benign until we find out it's Genghis freaking Khan. But we can give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe. But as with everything Mughal related, when the news reached Genghis Khan, his reaction was somewhat... Oh my god! And when Aladdin heard of his response, probably was something...
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
So, the natural and then the most reasonable response is to send diplomats to talk about it. That's how generally the ancient world worked. Who am I kidding? Nah. We're talking about Genghis freaking Khan here. So Genghis did what Genghis does. And he decided to send his whole army to destroy Aladdin. And so our boy Mingburnu becomes Shah. Yay! But hold the party poppers. The first order of business for our new king and Shah was to get out of Dodge.
Whoa, Camel! Whoa!
Don't worry about this. It becomes somewhat of a theme in his life. So Mingburnu ends up in Afghanistan of all places and asks for help from the local kingdoms. Mingburnu convinces them somehow, and they fought the Mongols and won. Good news for our boy Mingburnu. But then promptly left.
Where did everybody go?
Who? The Afghans. An interesting fact that not even the Mongols could defeat the Afghans. Other empires, I think you need to take note. You don't mess with an Afghan. So you'd think the Mongols would leave. But the Mongols throughout history, if you read them, they're somewhat of a tenacious bunch. So they chased our protagonist. But like Sonic himself, he was...
Gotta go fast.
So Mingburnu, weighing up his options, headed southwards with the Mongols in tow. And so with this cat and mouse game, they reach the Indus River. And so seeing the Mongols, Mingburnu did what Mingburnu does, what every action hero does. He jumped into the river and swam with his horse and everything on tow. So the Mongols definitely saw this. He could have easily been killed or shot. But Genghis Khan did something strange, even weird for him to show. And you might be thinking what I'm talking about. He showed constraint. He absolutely showed constraint. And left him. Pretty shocking, I know. This decision by Genghis Khan didn't have its benefits. But, oh well. I think he learned from his mistakes if you read Mongol history. This led to the greatest game of in history. As Mingburnu reached India, he must have loved it there. Clearly, he spent around about 3 years. Was it the biryani, lassi, dal chawal? Possibly. We can only speculate. But he did spend a lot of time there. After spending approximately 3 years, going from place to place with various degrees of success, possibly, from getting the Khokras, who are native Punjabis, and some Gujarati clans on his side, and then the major failure in India for him was not getting the Delhi Sultan on his side. His response was probably around about this.
Fuck you! I ain't having that shit!
And so after that small 3-year holiday in India, I went back and tried to reclaim his land and then promptly failed. And his new friends, the Rum Seljuks and some of the Indian army, promptly deserted him again. Buddy, Mingburnu, I think it might be you. What did you do to deserve this? Did you not bathe? Did you shout? History can tell. Maybe. Kinda. So, after the first bout with the Mongols, with his brand new shiny army that dissipated on contact, he did what Sonic does.
Yeah, gotta go fast.
And made his way up the Alborz mountain range, which you can still see, which is in modern day Iran.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would know.
Wait. Don't play the violins just yet. This turned out to be a great blessing for our boy. He got his first proper win, kinda, as he took over Debrecen, good city. This kind of made him a landing point, a HQ for our boy Mingburnu. And then he went on to Talbesi, which is in Georgia. And then he moved on to Akaland in modern day Turkey. So he was getting victories after victories. Maybe his luck is coming around. Good for you, Mingburnu.
Everything's coming up, Millhouse.
All of these fighting and victories was obviously for the Mongol threat that was coming. That was his whole mission in life, to defeat the Mongols. But as with all things with Mingburnu, his luck was running short, as usual. The ever-increasing salty, very salty Sultanate of Rome did not want to play nice. And so they had an epic battle with our protagonist fighting on one side and the Rum Seljuk fighting him, and promptly lost in Erzincan, and now headed to the only place that was safe for him. That was in Rhine-Bakir, which is in the Kurdish mountain range. Once he got there, I think something must have clicked in Mingburnu's life. He must be evaluating what has happened so far, because a few months later, poof, out of thin air, nowhere to be seen. There's a couple of possibilities. One is that he could have been assassinated by Ayyubids, or I think this one fits it better.
I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
You might be thinking this is the end of our story, but not true exactly. The loyalists of Mingburnu's army that were left behind created the greatest mercenary force in the world. And their most notable achievement was to take down the Tower of David in Jerusalem and finally ridding the Holy Land of the Crusaders and send them packing home. Every story does have a silver lining. Thank you for watching our pilot. Tell us what you think on the comment section below. And subscribe to us. And if you want to support us, there's the Patreon link. Or go to our website by clicking on the icon.